Hi, Corey.
Hi, Bethany. How are you?
How are you?
Good. Just waiting for Joyce, the woman of the hour.
Hey there.
Hi, how are you?
Great.
Hey, Jim.
Hey there, Judge Bailey.
How are you?
I'll tell you, every time I see that little clip about it is really very cool.
Yeah. It really is. Corey, you may have to take over.
I know.
Really?
I could tell you what I'm watching, but I don't know if you'd be so interested.
I want to hear it.
Well, actually, it might be. Only Murders in the Building.
Yes, my wife's watching. I haven't seen that, but she's enjoying it. Yeah.
Highly recommend. It was Martin Short and Steve Martin are a duo that I would love in my life. I think they're great.
Yeah. I did see one episode and she's really been binging it. So
Yeah, it's a good binge show. What about you? What have you been watching?
we've been watching it's a terrible name, but it's called Dope Sick. It's about the Purdue Pharma business, and it's a somewhat dramatization of that situation, which we're all very interested in, because of the case. So it's on Hulu.
I heard of that one too. I heard it's good. Anyone else want to share?
Not uplifting, I'll tell you. But
No, yeah.
what can I say?
Well, we've got one, and this is a 2017 short film documentary that we were put onto, called The Long Shot. But I can't tell you what it's about because I'll ruin it. But it's 40 minutes, and you'll love it.
You have to search for it under THE long shot, not just under long shot.
And where is it?
Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah. But it's amazing.
Oh, wow. I'm looking for that. That's great.
Yeah.
As a judge, you will have a specific perspective on it.
Yes.
Oh, that's what I call the chances of me being affirmed in most of my cases.
It's a term of art.
Really? No, it's great. It's great. But we can't tell you what it's about because
you can't even tell us the topic. Yeah, so that's
it has a nexus to baseball, but it's not about baseball.
Okay, all right.
But it does have an, I'll say that. So
we're not going to force you to tell us more. So
right.
What are the Goldbergs watching, Michael?
Ted Lasso.
Yeah, we've started Ted Lasso.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Yeah.
I love that. I just finished Ted Lasso.
Should I watch it?
I subscribed to Apple TV last night.
It's so good.
Well, Joyce is coming because she couldn't find how to get here, neither could I. So I know they're going to put her.
Well, I'm glad you made it.
So I have to say, if you haven't seen it, we saw Witch last night. If you're Boston, which is at the Huntington. It's really quite great.
Oh, really? Oh, I wondered about that.
It's well done, really well done. An hour and a half, and the acting is amazing. The sets are always great. But it's unique. It's a very interesting medieval story about witchery, and there's a devil, and it's quite. We were charmed and surprised, because it sounds so out of the box, and it is. It's an updated version of a medieval story.
So here we are. Do we think? Okay, Corey, me, the Milmos. I think you're muted. Bethany, Jim, Judge Frank Bailey.
Hey, Joyce.
Kevin.
Yeah, it's better. Oh, there's
Jill and Michael Goldberg. Hi, welcome.
Hello.
Amanda,
Hello, how are you?
Debbie, Bob, and Sheila, who's got a little still, and Caitlin Ruse and Jeff Stegenga. I don't know if I've said that correctly, but
You
I
did
think
just
we may
fine.
have. Thank you. I think we may be all set. So, that's interesting. Debbie, you just started talking about the Huntington, and I didn't like Witch so much.
Really? I
Oh.
love
Yeah, I didn't like it. That's the play that's now at the Huntington. It's about, it's actually a reworking of an old Jacobean medieval tale about the devil making a bargain. And, it's kind of interesting. At the end, the devil starts questioning the bargains that he makes. But I thought it was kind of dull and flat. But, there you go. What do I know? I'm a drama critic,
Well, it could have been the night, we went on the election night, which was insane because
Yeah.
try to find parking in the South End.
That's true. That's true.
But maybe we were so excited when we actually parked and on Harrison Avenue got there. But Bob is tougher than I, and he really liked it.
I think people are actually sort of desperate to be out at the theater because there's been no theater. So people have been, really flocking and I think open to whatever's there. I did see something last night, and it was the first thing, a musical that just opened in Boston, Broadway in Boston's very first production, and it's called Hades Town. It's a Tony Award winning musical, and it reworks the whole Orpheus and Eurydice, Persephone and Hades Greek myths, and updates it with music, and it's quite beautiful and moving. And what do I want to say? It's about how life is imperfect, but we do the best we can, and love binds us together. And it does this in a pretty inventive way, I would have to say. So it really, really extracts the meaning of those Greek myths for people and updates them with sort of modern choreography and music. It's a very moving piece of work. So I would recommend that. It's at the Opera House in a great big theater. Go check out Hades Town. I think it's actually the best thing on stage right now. I wanted to talk about some movies too. I just saw a brand new film called Spencer. It's about to open on Friday. It's Kristen Stewart playing Lady Diana Spencer. And it's done by the same guy who did the movie Jackie a few years ago with, just blanking on her name, but in any case,
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Natalie Portman. And it's as odd as that film was, but it's also very unusual. I mean, at this point, we all know all the details of the story of, Diana, and with the Crown being a miniseries on TV, and with everything that's been in the news and everything we've lived through, this takes a whole different approach, puts you inside her head, puts you inside her, and the agony, the loneliness, the stress, the burden, the humiliation of being who she was under the eyes of those people, with a husband who had deeply betrayed her, and being about 20 something years old. You understand a lot better what she was going through. So I'm recommending Spencer. I'm recommending Dune. Even though the Globe hated it, I loved it. I thought it was great. 153 minutes with Timothée Chalamet is just what the doctor ordered.
What's it about?
Dune is based on the book, and about the huge science fiction book about it's set in the future, interplanetary strife between various houses who are trying to take control of the most valuable resource in the known universe, something called spice. And it's really a coming of age story about a young man who's about to ascend to the throne, as it were. And that's the Timothée Chalamet character. It's only part one, but the visuals are extraordinary, just grand and majestic and powerful and mythic, but also emotional and intimate too. So I think they achieve both things. I also liked the Bond film, the last Bond film, No Time to Die. It's Daniel Craig's last outing as James Bond, the fifth and last outing. And he's a terrific James Bond. I mean, he's tough and dangerous, but also debonair, and it's nonstop action. It's got a larger kind of plot. There's a villain played by Rami Malek, and the plot really involves a danger that's a different kind of danger. Let's say it has to do with something resembling a pandemic, something viral, something microscopic, but not a pandemic exactly, but talking about, but that kind of danger to us, which is very much of the moment. But it's, you know, it's all there. The Aston Martins, the quips, the fighting, the guns, the impossible chases on land, on sea, on motorcycles. It's fantastic. What else?
Hey, Joyce?
Yes.
Joyce?
Just stop me. Jump in.
I have a question for you. It's kind of not about a particular movie, but the movies generally. Are people going to go back to the movies? And when I mean movies, I mean movie theaters, because I don't see that happening yet. I think we're somewhat reluctant to go to theaters. And is that going to, have we seen, in your opinion, have we seen kind of a sea change in how people are going to watch and appreciate movies?
Absolutely. And the studios and all the makers of movies right now are trying to figure that out, which is why you have so many things that are being released either just on television, streaming, or simultaneously on TV or streaming and at the movies. Very few films are being released just in theaters, at movie theaters. And movie theaters have kind of a different set of requirements for getting into the movies. Theaters, live theaters, require proof of vaccination and that you wear a mask through the entire thing. I have been to a live theater production. Movie theaters are not requiring proof of vaccination. They're requiring you to wear your mask, but if you're that guy who wants to sit there eating a pile of onion rings, you get to do that too. So I don't want to be sitting next to somebody eating, you know, fried chicken and all this. Oh, I don't want that anyway, but I certainly don't want that in the middle of a pandemic. Well, so the rules are a little less restricted, and I think it makes it difficult, certainly for me. The only time I go see a movie now on the big screen is at noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday when AMC has that reduced rate and there's only 14 people in the theater, and one of them is me. So that's a good time to go.
Right. And I also interject here that theater and ballet and music all have taken a different pause. Well, not really different because movies are streaming as well, but most, I mean, I know that the ballet, and I'm involved in Handel and Haydn Society. I think that Boston Symphony may as well. And certainly the Huntington, they're giving you more than one option. You can come or you can sign on to see a post-production. And I think the goal here is that let us get through this pandemic, and then, you know, we will be ready to go back. Some people already are. We went live last night, you know, 2 nights ago to the Huntington. It was a little scary, but we were ready, and it's a smaller theater. I think when I looked at the reviews of the Colonial, was that where it was? The
Opera House.
Hadestown.
Hadestown was at the Opera House.
The Opera House. It seemed a lot of people. It was teeming with people, which was a little, you know, gave me a little bit of a pause.
I double masked, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm fully vaccinated. I can't wait to get my Moderna booster. But yeah, I mean, I've been willing to do that, and not everybody is, and I get it. You know, I'm not immunocompromised. I am age compromised, however.
I think Joyce, you need to get back on television. And the reason I say that, no, I'm not saying it in a minor way. I'm saying it in a major way, because look what we're doing. You know, I mean, I'm an ovarian cancer survivor. I would like to go over, and you can't learn enough, you know, and I have things that I can share about being a survivor. But I think it's so important for you to have a platform. I know you have the blog, but people need to be encouraged and guided, and we need to do it.
twist
So,
my arm.
Joyce,
But nobody wants to pay for arts and entertainment coverage anymore, and the whole TV industry has fallen apart. I mean,
so
they've
why
got-
is that, Joyce?
they've
Why is that?
I'll tell you exactly what happened when I was on television in the golden age of television. And, you know, I spanned from the 80s right through 2008. All right. So from 1981 to 2008, I was on TV, and we actually kind of invented this beat, which was covering arts and culture in Boston, which is jam-packed with arts and culture and has only gotten more so. But as soon as the TV market started getting divided up into various cable outlets and more stations, then the revenues started shrinking, competition increased, and they just couldn't afford to do what they did before. When I was on television, we would have a third or a quarter of all the households with televisions tuned to our station. Now the ratings are minuscule. Revenues are down. So they got rid of everything they think of as a frill. And guess what falls into that category? Arts and entertainment. And I wasn't covering showbiz, and I wasn't covering, you know, like what star is dating what star. I was really covering some entertainment and a lot of arts coverage and visual arts and symphony and rock and roll. But it's not valued. It's just not valued. It's considered something that's disposable, dispensable, and doesn't do what I think it does, which is to give insight to the human condition, lift us up. It's a through line to empathy and compassion. It lets us know the extraordinary things that human beings are capable of, not just rapes, robberies, murders, fires, and riots, but we also do extraordinary things. And there are artists who are out there shedding light on these things.
Why not flip the
We
coin?
need to have that as part of what is reflected back to us.
Yeah, but
they
where
won't
did-
pay for it.
Yeah, but wait, that was then. You know, I'm an optimist. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. And
Yeah.
I believe that it's time to sell yourself because you could stand out if no one else is doing it. And
I've made that case. We
it's
actually
survival
sat down.
for us.
Debbie, from your lips, you're preaching
Okay.
to the converted. Honestly, let's
Yeah.
take a meeting with the heads of every station in town. But I sat with BZ and they were looking. They actually called and asked me to have a lunch. I can't believe I'm telling you this, but we talked and they said, "Yeah, this sounds great," and that was it. I never heard back. And they called the meeting. I said, "Wow, this could actually happen." Nope, they're just not interested in going there.
Speaking as a consumer, I'd be happy to give up 5 minutes each of weather and sports every
Oh,
night.
well, thank you.
Weather is what sells.
Thank you. News, sports, weather. I mean,
That's it.
weather.
News is all bad.
They got to pay for that Doppler radar somehow,
I
right?
just think with
And
this
I love the
pandemic-
weather. Don't get
And
me
by the
wrong.
way, they're usually wrong. It's not that hard.
And it's not just because we're in New England either.
Exactly.
You know, what
Wait,
goes
speaking
around
of
comes
weather,
around.
before I forget, I want to tell you that tonight, because I actually love the weather. I'm like a weather nut. There's going to be a huge meteor shower. And if you're up at 1 o'clock in the morning, the South Torrid meteors are going to shoot across the sky. And they're actually known for fireballs because they're part of like a comet, the tail of a comet. So the exact peak of the shower is 1 a.m. And you can expect to see a meteor 5 every hour, 5 per hour at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be up on my upstairs deck looking out at the sky.
Hey,
But
Joyce,
Yes.
I had a question going back to movies. What did
Yes.
you think of Evan Hansen? I did not see the play.
Yeah.
I know Rebecca has seen the play, but I had read terrible reviews. So
I know. I think they really overreacted, and then a lot of young people got on TikTok and got on Twitter and really started slamming Evan Hansen, the actor. I'm forgetting his name, but the guy
Ben
who played
Platt.
Evan Hansen,
Ben
Ben
Platt.
Platt, who's got an angelic voice. They said he was too old to play the part, and they were making fun of him, etc. So that took on a life of his own. The fact of the matter is I have seen the play. The play is glorious. And what worked on the stage just didn't have the same impact on the big screen. And there is a little problem with the plot of that movie, given the way in which Evan Hansen collaborates in the lie that ends up getting out of hand. And they don't really deal with that properly. And that issue is really magnified on the big screen. So that became an issue. But I would have to tell you that I think, for me, there was enough there to be listening to Ben Platt and that score, which is beautiful. I mean, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous score. So, you know.
It's a funny story, but we were waiting for a ferry to Monhegan Island, and we happened to chat with this couple on the dock, and it was Ben Platt's drama teacher from Connecticut. And he said, Ben is working on a musical for Broadway. And that was Evan Hansen. So it was very funny.
They had to find him. They made fun of his acting too. They said he was too twitchy and too overly broad, that he wasn't, he didn't have the finesse and the subtlety for movie acting.
He did say it was his real hair. I mean, they said he was wearing a wig, and he said, no, this is my real hair.
Actually, I thought he looked like a high schooler, but then, you know, everybody to me who's not, 60 looks like they're 12. So I want to know what you all are streaming on television, because of my job for 30 years, and I worked the night shift. I always did the 11 o'clock news, the 6 o'clock news. I didn't watch any TV, so I didn't see The Sopranos the first time it went around, but I've seen it since. Incredible. And I'm home now watching television a lot more and getting movies on links, but some of the things that I've seen are unbelievably powerful, extremely well made. And I'm going to recommend something to you that didn't get a lot of press, but I finally saw Matt Gilbert note it in the Globe as a hidden gem that nobody had really paid attention to. It's a series called Rectify. And it's about a man. It was made like 4 or 5 years ago. It's now on Amazon Prime. It's about a man who's released from prison back to his hometown after being found guilty of the rape and murder of his high school girlfriend. And he's been exonerated because of DNA evidence, which proves he did not commit the crime. So he has to come back to his hometown, put his life together, his psyche together, and they still have to figure out who committed this crime. So you've got these various levels of plot going on. When I tell you it is the most supremely acted, most brilliantly shot, most original take, and it is not at all gory or bloody. It is dark, but it also moves toward the light. And when I say that, all of these characters evolve to the very best that human beings can be. We very seldom see material like that, where everybody's capacity to be good, to be loving, to be kind is really explored here. And it is extremely, and I'm going to use kind of a Christian term, it's redemptive. It's really redemptive in a way that you don't see coming, that you don't expect. It's a brilliant piece of work. So if I don't talk about anything else, check that one out. Don't give up on it if it's a little sad at first. It's dark. It's going to take you places, and then it's going to lift you up.
That reminds me of Mayor of Easttown. That's very similar. It's dark in the beginning, but there's tremendous redemption. Yeah, that was a fantastic show.
Yeah, it was great. I thought that was so terrific. I now just started watching Maid, and it's pretty dark, and it's got Andie MacDowell, who was a model at one time and then became an actress. She was in Tarzan, and she was in 4 Weddings and a Funeral with that glorious hat. And she plays the wacko mother of her real life daughter, Margaret Qualley, who's the young woman who stars in this film. And she is a mother who's involved in she's got a child. She leaves a domestic abuse situation, and it's what happens to her. And we've just started, and it's pretty intelligently shot. So I would say, and written. It's not your usual fare. It's pretty literate. And I will say The Morning Show with Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Steve Carell, and Billy Crudup, who just about runs away with the show. It's really a pretty accurate take on the world, the cutthroat, nasty, competitive, jealousy-ridden world of Major League television news, morning television, TV news. And a lot of shows get that wrong. And I always crack up, you know, when I watch them doing things that can't be done or that are just so silly. This is really accurate. And the example I always use of something that gets it wrong is a film that it was Michelle Pfeiffer and Robert Redford. Oh my God. I'm trying to remember what the heck the name of that film was, but she played this anchor woman, and I'll never forget it, but she ran into a riot in the middle of a prison and went live in a corridor outside a cell by just picking up a microphone and starting to talk, when in fact that would be impossible. You'd have to have miles of cabling, hours of satellite setting up. I mean, you know, and I thought, what? You can't, that doesn't happen. It was crazy. I was laughing. I still remember part of my review that night. But The Morning Show, that's pretty dead on. So, yeah.
Joyce, I have a question
Yes.
for you. So the best movie that no one saw, I think this year, it has a funny name, Pig. Nicolas Cage.
Pig.
I didn't see it.
We saw that. I
It's
loved
so
it.
good. Did you like it?
I loved it. And seeing Nicolas Cage play that character, that was a terrific movie. Yeah, nobody knew about it. That's
You
right.
know, I knew about it and I passed on it. Nicolas Cage is insane. And he chooses very odd projects, and he's a truffle hunter and someone steals his pig, correct?
That's right.
It's a more complicated story than that.
Yeah,
So.
It is. Okay. Well, you know what?
I think it's you know, Nicolas Cage usually does the big, you know, blow him up movies and stuff, and this is by far his best thing that I've ever seen.
Really?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
you know what? Thanks for the recommendation. I'm gonna go watch that now. These are good recommendations.
Joyce, I've got a question for you. Did you see the series Rake?
No.
It's
Wait, is this about lawyers?
well, it is about an Australian barrister
Uh-huh.
who is you know, he gets drunk, he's a womanizer, he's a gambler. He also happens to be a terrific courtroom lawyer when he's all together. And Rebecca and I binged it kind of at the beginning of the pandemic, and it is fantastic. There are two versions of this, though. You have to make sure you look at the Australian one.
Okay, will do.
There's one that's, I think, in the US, but it was unbelievable. The first.
Well, I love courtroom drama. I do love that.
Yeah, but it's more than it's courtroom, but it's fun from that perspective. But there's a lot of character development, you know, with his ex-wife and his kids, and everyone in his family is his best friend. They're all really well developed characters, and it's very funny. It's dramatic and funny.
Oh, I love that, because I'm looking for something.
Where is that, Jim?
You know, I'm trying to think. It's on Amazon.
On Netflix. It's on Netflix. We started watching it because at our last meeting before tonight's event, you mentioned it, and Greg and I have binged on it, and we absolutely love it. It's fantastic.
Okay, that's another great recommendation.
Love it.
I just finished watching Unforgotten, and that's yeah. I mean, it's very plot driven, and you can see all the beats. But I ended up loving Nicola Walker, who is the detective, and I thought it was pretty well done. But it's not at the level of some of these other things. But I did like it.
Wasn't it sad at the end though?
Oh my gosh! Don't say anymore.
I won't. But it was sad.
don't say anymore. But yeah, it was.
But a lot of the PBS series are really excellent. There's
Yeah,
so
and those
many good
British
ones.
ones. I mean, I'm a sucker for any sort of British drama. I
The best
really am.
ones, yeah.
I loved, wait, there's something else I wanted to tell you about. What was it? Oh my gosh, Unforgotten, Made, morning show, 9 Perfect Strangers. That was okay. Melissa McCarthy was great in that. And Nicole Kidman plays this guru that everybody goes to this, place to cleanse and, be elevated, etc. And you don't know where this thing is going. That was okay. It was pretty good. But Melissa McCarthy, who's one of the attendees, was a revelation in that. And I already knew she was a good actress, but she's really good in this. So I would say that. Oh, I know what it is. There's a French series called Call My Agent, which is fantastic. And it's a talent agency that handles movie stars, and real French movie stars play themselves in this series. It's in French with English subtitles. So you've got Juliette Binoche who comes in there and she plays herself. And you've got Christophe Lambert who comes in there. He used to be, he was Tarzan in a movie. You have Monica Bellucci who plays herself. You have, the really other famous one besides Juliette Binoche. I'm just blanking on her name. But in any case, they play themselves and they straddle this line between reality and their own personas. And you love every single person in this office. It's just, I was so sorry when it ended because I wanted to continue to be in their company. In French, it's called 10%, which is 10%, which is what an agent takes out of your salary. But in English, it's called Call My Agent. And it, again, really accurate, the games that get played with talent and what you can say to them and what you can't say to them and how you have to handle them and how they handle themselves and what kind of dream world they're all living in. It's very fun. Oh, Isabelle Huppert, she plays herself in this. Fantastic. So there you go. And I think we could go on and on and on, but it's 8:35. I don't want to keep everybody. If you're ready to stay or go, I'm happy to keep going.
Do we end here or do we go back, or do we end?
There's no going back, Debbie.
No going back.
No. Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's it. This was so helpful. I mean, we've only been, I hate to say it, but we watched a lot of sports. So
yeah, I'm always down on sports. The only thing that hooks me into sports, and believe me, I know sports are wonderful and all of that, but they just take up so much oxygen in the room. And I used to be fighting with Bob Lobel all the time over my airtime on TV. I mean, in a very funny way.
I get it.
Yeah, he did the sports, which would be just before me, and I was the last thing on the show. And let me tell you something, if he went over his time, there was nowhere I could go. So I'd be like, Bobby, shut up. Anyway, sports.
I know, but this does take up a lot of time. You're absolutely right. But if you're listening in Atlanta and you live in Boston.
But I am obsessed with Tom Brady. I will tell you that. So there you go. So I am rooting for the Buccaneers now. I am rooting.
You have 2 teams.
Thank you for this. Thank you for this.
I love talking about all the different things. And
Wonderful
just
discussion.
thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in and keeping me company tonight. This was great. I didn't know if there'd be one person in my room like me talking to myself. Or
I think as the
folks.
pandemic continues on and on and on, we need this more than ever for our mental health and our community.
Oh, you know
That's
what?
right. That's why they need.
Before we
Joyce.
go, I have a list of movies that I want you to to think about coming up. These are the ones that I'm excited about that are coming. One is called Red Notice with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Gal Wonder Woman Gadot and Ryan Reynolds. It's like a globe-trotting Bond thing. Belfast, which is about Northern Ireland, stars Jamie Dornan, and it's directed by Kenneth Branagh, and that should be pretty good. King Richard, which has Will Smith as Richard Williams, the father of tennis superstars Venus and Serena Williams.
I want to see
That should be good. House of Gucci, starring Lady Gaga and everybody else in the world. Selma Hayek, Jeremy Irons, Adam Driver, Al Pacino, and Camille Cotin, who is one of the leads in Call My Agent. Don't Look Up, which was a movie shot here in Boston. This is coming out in December. It's about two scientists who are trying to track a meteor that's destined to hit the Earth. Everybody in the world is in this movie. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Meryl Streep, Timothy Chalamet, Kate Blanchett, Tyler Perry, Jonah Hill, and Ariana Grande. I mean, shot in Boston.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Steven Spielberg's doing a remake of West Side Story, which should be phenomenal. The Matrix Resurrections is coming up, if you're into The Matrix, and Keanu Reeves is back in that. And then Ben Affleck shows up in a movie called The Tender Bar as a guy called Uncle Charlie, and he runs a bar, and he's the father figure for his nephew who's in sore need of a father figure. So I think it's kind of interesting the way Ben is sort of morphing into these sort of more avuncular roles, shall we say. Even as he's reconnected with Jennifer Lopez. So I've got my eye on that. I've talked to both of them. They're adorable. Anyway, nice to see you all. And thank you. Thank you.
Great
Thank
to see
you,
you.
Joyce.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Everybody. Great to see you.
All
Great,
right.
let's get me back on TV. It's in your hands.
Yes,
Yes.
Amen.
my people will talk to your people. And we'll get it done.
Thanks for Rake.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Thank you.
Joyce.
Thank
Good
you.
night.